calendar. Last year, one rider, Marty Burr, won all 4 feature race motos, making him the reigning king of Walton. This year, 39 other racers will attempt to steal Burr's crown. Will they succeed? It's the Valvoline Canadian Grand National Championships. Brought to you in part by Honda, Kawasaki, and Yamaha. Hello everyone, I'm Dave Hatch along with Colin Fraser, and welcome to Walton, Ontario. We've got some exciting motocross action for you today. Colin?
Well, the Valvoline Grand National is the biggest outdoor race of the Canadian season, Dave, and Walton is the most demanding track on the Canadian Tour. We have over 800 riders from across North America have come to challenge this European-style, very fast track.
Now, joining us for today's broadcast is Lino Zecca, a former Canadian national motocross front-runner, a track builder, a promoter. Lino, who are some of the guys we should be watching for today?
Well, thanks, guys. As you can tell by the noise behind me, I'm right on the edge of the track at the beginning of the pro pits. I'm standing in between a 125 and a 250 motocross bike here. I'll give you a visual tip here. The 250 motorcycles today have black numbers on white backgrounds, and the 125 class is represented with white numbers on a black background. Okay, that will give you the visual difference. As far as my top 5 pick for today, I'd have to put probably my money on Jean-Sébastien Roy, who's had an exceptional season this year thus far. He'll be one to look out for. Quebec rider Marco Dubé has been really up there at every event this year. Ontario provincial points leader right now, Chris Pomeroy, who always does good here at Walton. Top Western rider Blair Morgan, who put together a fine ride at winning the Toronto Supercross. Definitely a rider to watch for today. Japanese 250 motocross champion Jeff Matasevich. First time here in Canada. Jeff has raced all over the world and has put together some fantastic rides. Jeff will definitely be a front rider here today. But I have to say that reigning Walton champion Marty Burr is definitely going to be a rider that'll be at the top of the list. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited. Looking forward to some fantastic motocross action here today. Back over to you guys.
Now, as Lino mentioned, one of the riders definitely expected to do well here today is Yamaha rider Marty Burr.
Well, last year at Walton, Burr was the guy to beat. In fact, he was unbeatable because he took all 4 motos, both the 125 Pro and both the 250 Pro events. Burr's been doing very well so far this year, so we can expect Marty Burr to feature.
Okay, then let's spend a few moments and get up close and personal with the king of Walton, Yamaha's Marty Burr. This portion of the Valvoline Canadian Grand Nationals is brought to you by Yamaha, the power to satisfy.
I'm 25 right now, and I started when I was 5 years old. My brother started racing, and I just started going and watching, and I had a mini bike and started playing around. Last year was pretty good. I was an unexpected winner of all 4 motos because Carl Valancourt and Jean-Sébastien Roy were leading the series, both classes, and I think I surprised a lot of people. Everybody comes up and asks me, are you going to win all 4 motos again this year? And like, just try not to let it bother me and put it out of my head. I like this track, so yes, I want to come back here, but think a lot of people, if I don't win all 4 motos again, they'll be a little bit disappointed or wouldn't think it is quite a good accomplishment to win it overall. My personal preference of tracks is more like this, outdoor natural terrain, like the 70s and 80s used to be. I think that's good. I like that. I don't like the supercrosses quite as much because it's a little bit dangerous. Some tracks are dangerous, some aren't. I practice mostly on this style of course, so I like to try and be as best I can on this style. I should be able to win a couple motos at least. Just depends how I start in the first couple laps and how my bike's handling, because there's a lot of bumps, a lot of braking bumps and stuff like that, so you have to get your bike to handle well. A lot of juniors come up and ask me about where to start or what line to take in a certain spot, stuff like that. The trick to getting around here fast is just think of it as a road race course. Just take the inside, outside, and look for the smoothest line. Well, just try my best. I'm not going to say that I'm going to go out there and smoke them or anything, but just see what happens. They know what's happened in the last couple of years, so hopefully I can do it again.
And we'll just see how Marty Burr performs as we get set for the first moto in the Pro 125 class.
You can see the starter motioning all the mechanics off the grid. You can see the track has been freshly groomed, so we're all set for some good action. This is the first pro race as we wait for the gate to drop.
The 10-second board is up, and we're set to go racing. 40 riders side by each, and they'll funnel down to the first corner. And it looks like the first man through there, number 21, Ryan Gauld. Oh, Gauld is down.
Well, that's every rider's worst nightmare, Dave. Let's hope everyone can get through there without clipping Gauld.
Heading through corner 2, your leader now, number 47, Jeremy Boer. He's being chased down by the kid, 121, Brandon Roberts, and Marco Dubé there as well. They'll head out through the back 40, and our leader there, number 47, he's hanging on, but he's getting a lot of pressure. Oh, Roberts goes through for the lead. Over the double jump now, Brandon Roberts, number 121 there on a Honda, being chased down by Jeremy Boer on the Kawasaki.
Now remember, compared to other forms of racing, Dave, this is practically the first time today they've seen the track in this condition, so everyone's feeling their way. The 121 really seems confident with the conditions in the early going.
18-year-old Brandon Roberts, our leader. It's his first year as a pro. He's only been racing for about 4 months now as a pro.
Now we're heading into a tight and technical section of the track, Dave. Very hilly, low speed, tough, takes a lot of determination in your style. We call it the orchard, even though they've had to clean most of the trees out of here.
Right you are now. They're still in the orchard section. We'll run down the leaders for you. It's Brandon Roberts on the Honda, followed by number 2, Marco Dubé on the Honda. And then further back, we've got Jeremy Boer on the Kawasaki and Mike Caton on that Jolly Rancher Suzuki.
For motocrossers, starts are all important, and unfortunately, a big element of starts is a first corner melee. We had one in this race, and it held up a lot of the front runners, but we're making hay while the sun shines at the front of the pack.
Roberts now still in this tight, twisty orchard section. He'll bring it up the hill now and head down the back straight.
Young American Roberts would have a chance to look to his left here and see his pit vehicles, but he doesn't have much time. This may be a straightaway, but it's very bumpy on the entrance to the big tree turn here, Dave. Very, very demanding. Have to pay attention. You get hung up on the ruts before the staircase jump.
Down the staircase they would go, and look at Dubé. It looks like he's starting to close in on Roberts there.
Yeah, at this point, the riders have started to get a feel for the track. They're setting their pace, but remember, they haven't even done a full lap yet, so they're still feeling their way a little bit.
Right, heading into the bowl for the first time. Look at this. Dubé tries a block pass, but Roberts holds him off. Now, let's go back and see that crash again with the Yamaha rider, Gauld.
Now, this bridge turn, Dave, is the first tight corner. Gauld got a terrific drive around the first sweeper, but he just got in there a little offline, couldn't get the front end settled, and here he's lying down praying that nobody runs him over as the whole pack is split in two, going left and right.
Now we get back with our leaders in this race, and look at this. Dubé starts the challenge. He's pushing Roberts really hard here as we head through corner 2.
Important to remember, Dave, that these races are half an hour long. You want to be aggressive and get out ahead, but you don't want to make a mistake, and you've got to think about your fitness too. If you use too much of your energy too early, you're going to poop out by the end of the race.
18-year-old Brandon Roberts on the CR125 Honda. Look at that. Dubé makes a pass on the inside, heading down to the double jump.
Roberts seemed a little tentative in that section, Dave. The track's very, very wide, not a lot of camber to lead you, and Dubé was more confident, blasted up the inside, and just took the line from Roberts as they plunged down towards the double jump.
Junior Canadian champion there, Marco Dubé, makes a nice pass as we head over the Valvoline Tunnel for the second time. Let's go back and see that again.
Now here you see Roberts, 121 in the wide line, and Dubé just has a little more confidence, and Roberts at this point hesitates just a second, decides discretion's the better part of valor, and lets the more experienced rider lead down the hill.
Great battle between these two CR125 Hondas, and there's our leader, Marco Dubé, as he heads into Lee's Orchard.
Motocross is a rhythm sport. You have to get comfortable at a good pace, and Dubé looks very comfortable. He's pulling away and not taking too many risks.
Moving ahead now to the 7-minute mark in this race, there's number 4, Marty Burr, in a great battle for third with Nicholas Way. And just behind them, this is the battle for 6th. That's number 62, Brett DeVries on the Yamaha, followed by number 20, Jeff Matasevich on the Kawasaki, and number 3, Jean-Sébastien Roy on a Honda.
These three are really feeling each other out, but you can't help but think that Roy's going to be the guy on the move. Remember, Dave, he's got a sore wrist from a crash a couple of weeks ago, and that's holding him up a bit.
This fight would continue for 2 laps. Now let's move ahead to the battle for second. That's 16-year-old Nicholas Way on the Kawasaki, and he's being chased by Brandon Roberts on the Honda.
And these are 2 young Americans who are really making a mark against the cream of the Canadian crop.
Back now with our race leader, number 2, Marco Dubé, and he has stretched out a huge lead as he heads through Lee's Orchard.
This is the definition of the term, styling away in the lead. Look at how well he's handling the track. He makes it look easy, and trust me, it's not. It's a fight to handle a bike around these sorts of bumps and jumps.
Tough on the machinery as well. Look at that. There's Axel Holve. He's out of this race. Now let's check in with the fight for 5th. Look at that. There's Jeff Matasevich and Jean-Sébastien Roy.
Matasevich is number 20 on that Kawasaki. Roy, who tried to pass on the inside there, is number 3 in the Honda. These are the 2 biggest stars of the event, and they are really trying to find out where the other one has strengths and weaknesses. Remember that Matasevich is new to this track. Lately, he's been competing solely in Japan. Meanwhile, Roy has that injured wrist, which has got to be weighing on his mind a little bit, Dave.
The wily veteran himself, number 20, Jeff Matasevich. He's the outdoor 250 Japanese champion.
Matasevich's nickname may be Chicken, but there's nothing chicken about the way he handles that Kawasaki.
Now, with 3 laps to go, here's the man in third, number 4, Marty Burr on that YZ Yamaha.
Burr's worked his way up from back of the top 10, but he looks like he's going to be hard-pressed to get past third late in the race.
Marty Burr over the Valvoline Tunnel will move ahead now with 2 laps to go. This is second place. That's Nicholas Way, the kid on the Kawasaki, and he is charging.
He may be unknown to a lot of the competitors here, but is he ever showing a lot of style attacking this difficult Walton terrain?
We're on the last lap now, and there's our race leader, number 2, Marco Dubé.
Big advantage to leading the whole way, or almost the whole way. You stay nice and clean. Also, since these races are scored on aggregate day, a win in the first race really puts you in the driver's seat, takes a little bit of the pressure off for Moto 2. You can see that Dubé's still charging, keeping his concentration up, and he's heading for that last jump.
And the winner of our first Pro 125 Moto on the day, Marco Dubé. Let's join Marco and Lino down in the winner's circle.
It's a pretty good race. I get a good start in the top 3, and I finished my race in the good position. I'm very happy.
Okay. How about your second 125 moto? What do you think about that?
I try for the finish one again.
Excellent. Okay, great race.
So Dubé, Way, and Burr round out the top 3 in Moto 1 for 125s at Walton. Roy made it up to 4th, and Brandon Roberts fell back to 5th. Superstar of the motocross scene, Jeff Matasevich, was 6th in his Walton debut. Meanwhile, Western champion Brett DeVries was 7th in the first moto with his Yamaha.
We're back in Walton, Ontario for TSN's continuing coverage of the Valvoline Canadian Grand National Motocross Championships. Welcome back to Walton, Ontario. I'm Dave Hatch along with Colin Fraser, and Colin, boy, was that one exciting 125 moto.
It was, Dave, but it's important to remember that that's just the first half, if you will. That's the entree. We have another 125 moto coming up, and then after that's taken place, we'll combine the results, and that'll actually give us the overall winner here at the Valvoline Grand Nationals.
Okay, then before we get to moto number 2, let's spend some time and talk about Kawasaki rider Blair Morgan.
Well, Morgan is one of the top Westerners. He's a fast guy, and he really showed his speed earlier this year at the Toronto Supercross. Now, Canadians rarely win in Supercross. In fact, the legendary Ross Pedersen was the last guy to win a Supercross in Canada. But Morgan pulled the big upset win at the Sky Dome and definitely proved that he's a rider to watch.
Okay, then, before we get to Moto number 2 in the 125 class, let's spend some time with Kawasaki rider Blair Morgan. This portion of the Valvoline Canadian Grand Nationals is brought to you by Kawasaki. Let the good times roll.
Probably the biggest win of my whole life was Toronto Supercross, and it was a lot of fun. It was probably the biggest thrill of my life, winning that race, and it's affected me quite a bit, I guess. A lot of people have heard my name more, I guess, and starting to get noticed now. I've been racing for 7 years, and I got into it. My brother used to race, and I used to go to races with him, and he's been racing for like 20 years now, so I just always went to races. I always saw it was a lot of fun to do, and always ridden bikes. Since I was little, I used to race BMX, and it's a lot of fun. I think a lot of it has to do with natural ability. I don't usually train that much. I do a lot of riding for my training, and that's pretty much it. I really don't have time to do the weights and do the running and biking and that. I do some mountain biking and that here and there, but usually doing a lot of riding is probably the best training you can do. It's my 3rd year here, and there's a lot more riders out in the east here, a lot more competition, I think, and it's kind of like the nationals that there used to be. It's probably the biggest race in Canada right now, so it's probably determines who's the fastest in Canada. I come here to try to prove myself a little bit, prove myself to the sponsors and how well I can do, and they get a lot of coverage, I guess, now that TSN is going to cover it now, and it's going to be great. It's probably the first outdoor race that it's going to be aired on TV. It's just a lot of fun. I always like riding motorcycles, and it's a lot of fun traveling and meeting new people every time and doing interviews like this, I guess. Still young, I guess, and not really settled down into any jobs or anything like this. Seem to make a little bit of money at it too, so have fun and make money. Can't ask for anything else, I guess.
So as Blair prepares to do battle in the Pro 125 class Moto number 2, we'll take a break as our coverage from Walton, Ontario continues right here on TSN. You're back with the Valvoline Canadian Grand Nationals, and there's a look at the winner of our first Pro 125 Moto, Honda's Marco Dubé. Welcome back to Walton, Ontario. I'm Dave Hatch along with Colin Fraser, and our Pro 125 Moto is just seconds away. Before we get to that, let's talk about the #1 ranked rider here today, Honda's Jean-Sébastien Waugh.
Well, Waugh may not be a champion due to some injuries and due to commitments in the United States. He's building quite a career for himself. Earlier in the year, he was hurt in Europe. That's really set him back, but there's no question that he is the man to beat in Canada. He's the 800-pound gorilla on the Canadian motocross scene. He is the riders the others fear. A healthy Waugh is very, very difficult to beat, and a lot is expected of him at this natural venue of Walton.
Okay, then, before we get to that moto, let's meet the Top Gun himself, Jean-Sébastien Waugh. This portion of the Valvoline Canadian Grand Nationals is brought to you by Honda. Come ride with us.
I was watching Ross Peterson and Carl Vianco riding, and they were my idol. I was like, oh, they are really good and stuff. And then a few years later, I was with them on the gate, so never thought about being the best. I mean, one of the fastest riders in Canada. There's big pressure when there's big races like this weekend and stuff, but I think I can deal with it. But it's nice to be one of the fastest riders in Canada. People respect you and stuff when you're on the track, so I guess I like it. Most of the time you just ride and try to have some fun, because if you don't have fun, you're all tight, and you go, you don't control the bike. So if you ride and you say, that's cool, it's fun, I love the track, so you get more smooth, you don't get tired, but you still have to be concentrated on the track to keep the same line, pretty much the same line every lap, and try to find some fast line and smooth line. So, but it's part of the game. So. I raced here in 94 and 95. It's my third time here. It's really fun track to ride because it's a real long track, so you don't go in the same corner every minute. It's like 3 minutes per lap, so it's more fun to ride. There's much room to pass. The track is wild, and it's really fast, so it's fun, real fun. I like to win, 4 moto like I did for the first and second national. I know it's going to be harder than the first one, because I think the first and second round, not everybody was probably 100% ready. But now the season, it's half season, so everybody is ready and good setup on the bike. Plus, we are in Ontario, and there's a lot of good Ontario riders. They want to. They want to win, plus Jeff Matasevich from the States, and a couple of the riders from the States are here, so it will be a tough competition, but I think I can win. But.
Well, we'll see if Jean-Sébastien Waugh can improve his overall standing in the 125 class as we get set for Moto number 2.
The pros are under starters orders, and there goes the 30-second board sideways,
which means we're set to go racing. Nice clean start there as all 40 riders funnel down again, and it looks like Dubé's got the whole shot. Under the bridge will go. It's Way, followed by Roberts. Oh, and we got a big crash there.
A couple of the front runners tangled. It looks like 7 or 8 guys went down, and at least half the field got held up in the second turn.
Heading into the back 40, it's our race leader, number 586, Nicholas Way, followed by 121, Roberts, then number 2, Dubé, and number 97, Matt Cramb.
Teenage sensation Way is off to an early lead, but look at this. These are the 2 riders who battled for the lead in the first moto, and they're hammering on each other for second right now, Dave.
Over the double will come for the first time, and Way gets some big air as we head down to the Valvoline Tunnel.
Way looks really on top of his riding right now. He's got 2 things going for him. One was that delay with the crash in the first couple of turns, and then also we've got these 2 riders battling for second. They're holding each other up. This could give Way just the chance he needs to break away.
16-year-old Nicholas Way, and look at him charge as he heads into Lee's Orchard.
Showing a lot of experience, Dave. Don't forget the American scene, especially for younger riders, is huge. Way has come up through some of the big events like the Loretta Lynn Classic down in the States, and he definitely knows how to motocross.
Way from DeWitt, Michigan. He's a 5-time amateur national champion down in the States, but this is his first pro race, and he is doing just fine.
Here we see Way tackling the technical section, which we call the Orchard. He's still styling away, and you can see he looks very comfortable. He's not overriding the bike. He's got good speed through the turns without looking too carry or pushed. This could be a very key moment for him.
Tight, technical, and twisty. That's Lee's Orchard, and look at the lead. He's stretching it out right now.
Of course, he knows he's out ahead. He's got a clear gap, but there we go back to number 2, who's now got a clean second. That's Dubé, and he's going to set sail for Way out ahead.
Way out indeed as he heads around the cherry tree and down the staircase. Nicholas Way handles it like a pro.
He's going to see his pit board in just a few seconds, Dave. A little wide on that turn, and he's not going to believe the advantage he has. Of course, when you've got Dubé on your tail, you're not going to get to rest, but it's nice to have that lead to start with.
Number 2, Marco Dubé now confidently in second as he heads out against Nicholas Way. He'll try to catch him heading into the bowl.
Yeah, this bowl section is actually a place where the two front runners are shining. Both of them make a lot of speed through here, and that's going to allow them to pull away.
Let's go back now and see that big crash again off the start of this race.
Number 21, Ryan Gold, got into the back of 97, Matthew Crown. If you remember, Gold crashed at the start of the first moto, was lucky not to be hurt, but here he causes a huge chain reaction. People actually go right through the fence and off the track, and worse than that, half the field has to come to a complete stop just because the track's plugged, Dave.
Fortunately, no one was injured in that crash, but as you mentioned, Marty Burr went right over the hay bales there. Now, let's get back to live action. There's our race leader, 586, Nicholas Way, and he is just running away with this. And there's a look at some of those riders that were held up in that crash earlier.
That incident off the start, Dave, really spread out the field, and these guys are trying to make up some ground. Number 8 is Guy Giroux. Here he runs into some more trouble. That's his second incident in less than 2 laps. These guys are really fit and very resilient. Looks like he's going to pick up his Yamaha and try and continue. Yep, there he's back on the saddle, time to kickstart it and trying to regroup.
Now on lap 2, there's our race leader, number 586, Nicholas Way, on that Kawasaki KX 125. Let's look back and see if we can find second place, number 2, Marco Dubé.
There's the Honda rider. He's on the charge. Remember, he won the opening moto. Way was second. So remember, if they finish in this order for Moto 2, they'll be tied, but Way will get the result because he did better in the second race.
So with Dubé in a solid second, let's look back to the battle for third. There's Kawasaki's Matt Crown from Metamore, Michigan, and he's being chased by number 48, Suzuki's Axel Holve of Gent, Belgium.
Holve looks like he's going to give it a try on the staircase section of the track. There you see him looking up the inside. Remember, Holve was a Grand Prix World Championship level rider in the early 90s. A lot of experience and certainly used to this kind of terrain, but you can bet he doesn't like getting all that dirt in his face, and he'd like to find a way by.
Crown and Holve side by each as they head up to the bowl now. Will Holve try the block pass? No.
Wasn't quite enough room there, Dave. That is a good pass that will work there. It slows both of you down, but it allows you to get by. Here we see a little further up the track. These two are still dicing away for third position.
Two veteran riders here. Crown is 29 years old. He's been racing for 17 years. Holve is 26. He's been racing for 14.
But at the 8-minute mark, there's Crown all alone in third. Looks like Holve ran into more trouble. You remember he dropped out of the opening moto. That's tough luck.
And there's John Sebastian Waugh running back in fourth place, heading up to the big tree.
Waugh was held up at that start line melee. He didn't suffer as much as some did, but you can see he's making some time now. We've got some battling just behind him, too, with a couple of Kawasaki riders, Dave.
Look at this. Jeff Matasevich running back in fifth, and that's Blair Morgan, number 24, on the Kawasaki. A great fight here as they head under the tunnel.
California-based Matasevich has probably never heard of Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, but he's going to know who Blair Morgan is because Morgan's right on his back door and knocking hard.
Matasevich and Morgan over the Valvoline Tunnel as we head down to the 9-minute mark. We've got a great fight here. This is the battle for fifth.
Looks like Morgan is going to find a way by just because he is so determined. He is pushing very hard. Look at him go inside on this, whoa.
Big air from both riders as Morgan has a look on the inside in this tough Lee Orchard. Will he make the pass? Let's see here as they come out the other side. Yes, Morgan makes the pass.
Nice move there, Dave, and we got a lap to go, and there's our leader still styling away. That's Way in first position.
Further back there's number 2, Marco Dubé in second, and look at that, just behind him, number 3, that's John Sebastian Waugh.
Dubé has caught up to Way a little bit, but I think that's because of the pressure of Waugh. Remember, he was held up at the start, but Waugh has shown his class by pushing the whole way. There's Way in first, but there's Dubé much closer, and Waugh is really coming. There he went across in front of a back marker. We've got a little over half a lap to go, and we've got a shootout on our hands.
2 Honda CR 125s going at it hammer and tongs as they head into the bowl. Look at this as they close the gap. That's Dubé, Waugh. Who will come out on top of this fight? We'll see as we follow them to the tunnel.
Dubé looked over his shoulder there. He seems to be riding a little bit defensively. Waugh is the man on the charge. They head into this very tight, whoa, almost a collision there, Dave.
Look at these guys, side by each, heading through corner 2. That's Dubé, number 2, and number 3, Jean-Sebastian Waugh, heading into the back 40. Dubé goes out in second and coming back the other way. Oh, it's number 3. Waugh has taken second.
Looks like Dubé may be just a little tired out here. He's faded off the line, Dave.
Still at the checkered flag, it would be number 586, the pride of DeWitt, Michigan, 16-year-old Nicholas Way. His first pro race and his first pro win.
Checking the results for 125 Moto 2 at Walton, we see that Way stuck with them to get that big win, holding off riders of the caliber of Waugh and Dubé, who were charging from behind. Meanwhile, Crown was fourth, and in the battle for fifth, Jeff Matasevich came out on top. Blair Morgan had to settle for sixth, and the rest of the top 10 was rounded off by Pomeroy, Wallen, Burr, and Brandon Roberts.
Welcome back to the Valvoline Canadian Grand Nationals. Lino Zecca's down in the winner's circle, all set to chat with our overall winner in the Pro 125 class, Nicholas Way.
4 laps to go. What are you thinking?
Thinking just ride smooth, don't do anything stupid. You got it. I mean, this seems like a pretty big race. It's like one of the bigger things I've done in my racing career so far.
All right, now your racing career. You just said you're 16 years old. How long have you been riding pro?
This is my first race in the pro class. Just came back from the amateur nationals in the U.S. and I won both a 250 intermediate and a 125 12 to 15 modified. So this is the first weekend since back then. So I'm pretty stoked to, run up there with the fast guys.
From Michigan, Nicholas Way.
So while our Pro 125 winners pick up their hardware, let's meet event organizer Mark Stallybrass.
Everything's going fantastic. We've got the weather's on our side. The spectators are just coming out by the thousands. Full line of riders. It's the best national race I've pretty much seen in my career.
Our pro competitors will now clean up, cool down, and drink up as we prepare for our first 250 race. So stay with us as our coverage from Walton, Ontario continues right here on TSN. Welcome back to the Valvoline Canadian Grand National Championships. There's a look at Canada's future motocross stars in action earlier this week here at Walton. I'm Dave Hatch along with Colin Fraser and Lino Zecca, and we're set to drop the gate on our first moto in the Pro 250 class.
Canada's top motocross racers, along with some visiting dignitaries, have now switched to the big bike stave, and we're ready to go.
Heading down to the first corner, it looks like number 4 Yamaha's Marty Burr gets the whole shot.
There were 2 or 3 riders right together in the lead there. No, it looks like Pomeroy may be the man.
Pomeroy followed by Burr, Morgan, Holvey, and Payton as they head down to the back 40.
Good to see the field get through the first couple of turns closely. This should make for a much, much better 250cc motocross, Dave.
Honda rider number 6, Chris Pomeroy there on the Honda CR250. He's being chased by Marty Burr as they head over the double jump for the first time.
Well, Pomeroy has a pretty good lead, Dave, and that's impressive, seeing as there were no holdups. So far, we've seen races that have been interrupted from the start because of incidents in the first couple of turns, but Pomeroy has built his lead fair and square. He was neck and neck with a couple other riders in those first 2 turns.
Number 6, Chris Pomeroy over the Valvoline tunnel jump. He's got Marty Burr hot on his tail, but Chris Pomeroy, he's the 1996 Ontario Provincial Champ, and he's showing us why.
Good to see Burr up in second, too, Dave. Don't forget, he's been bogged down at the starts. He had that incident with the fence in the 125 race, so now he's in with the chance of a win. Remember, he won all 4 races here last year and hasn't had a crack at a victory so far.
Big air there for Chris Pomeroy. He was a national junior champ back in 1988. He's been racing as a pro for 6 years now. We'll stay with Pomeroy, the leader, as we head down to Lee's Orchard.
Pomeroy seems comfortable on that big CR250, styling away through these tight sections of Lee's Orchard, but there you can see that Burr has actually closed up a little bit.
Chris Pomeroy from Shelburne, Ontario. He's sponsored by one of the biggest motocross shops in Canada, Machine Racing.
Now Pomeroy heads onto the pit straight. You can see he takes an inside line as he heads towards the big tree. Pretty rough along here, and listen to him slip the clutch to get a good launch.
Round the big tree and down the staircase he comes, and we can look back now and see the gap there. There's Marty Burr back in second.
These two have pulled out quite a lead, and there you can see Pomeroy is hanging it out. Burr is doing his best to keep pace, and there we have, see, that's Morgan in third. He's got by the Suzuki teammates who are definitely hammering on each other, Dave.
And look at this battle between Holvey and Payton as we pick up our leader now. There's Pomeroy heading under the bridge.
So this is the start of the second tour, and Pomeroy is holding that lead over number 4 on the factory Yamaha.
Through corner 2, it's all Chris Pomeroy. Can he hold off Burr? We'll have to watch and see as they head into the back 40. Oh, Pomeroy with a big moment there. He almost dumped the bike. Let's go back and see that again.
You can see him pushing the front end. He gets a little desperate, does a dab. Look at his chest right over across the top of the handlebars. That's why they have a pad there, Dave. Lucky for Pomeroy to catch it, but he keeps on going.
Now, as we head over the Valvoline Tunnel, we pick up this race 11 minutes in. Pomeroy there, followed by Burr, and then back a little further, it's number 24, Blair Morgan. We've got a great race here.
Of course, our race-long leader, Pomeroy, knows that these guys are coming. He gets some pit signals, but it's great for the crew to hang out aboard, but he has to ride 2.5-minute laps around this very tough Walton track, holding off some very, very confident racers.
This is just incredible. We're almost at the halfway point in this moto, and we've got 4 riders banging on each other for the lead. That's Pomeroy, Burr, Morgan, and Holvey.
And that's a Honda leading a Yamaha, leading a Kawasaki, and a Suzuki. So we're very well represented in terms of make, showing that there's a lot of different types of competitive machinery here at Walton.
There's our leader still, number 6. Chris Pomeroy through this tight and twisty Lee's Orchard, but look at these 3 other riders just behind him. Man, we've got one heck of a battle as we head towards the big tree. Oh, look at Pomeroy, he's way off the line there.
Oh, he lost his drive, Dave. He got sideways, and remember, this is the only straight really worthy of the name on the track, and his whole lead just evaporated as they head for the big tree turn.
Round the big tree they'll come. Look at all 4 riders. You could throw a tarpaulin over them as they come down the staircase.
Pomeroy got a good drive there, so he's got a little bit of breathing room, but that miscue really hurt him, and of course he knows these guys are coming on strong.
Coming on indeed, and look at that. Way is on the scene as well. He's starting to challenge there as they head into the bowl. It's Pomeroy, Burr, and Morgan.
There's our leader, Pomeroy. He's going by his pit board there. He's got about half the race to go. He's held the lead almost the whole way, but he's under intense pressure from 4 other competitors.
And look at that there. Blair Morgan just made the pass on Burr. He used that berm under the bridge there.
Boy, that was some intense riding. Morgan carried a ton of speed into that tight turn and just counted on the terrain to help him out.
Now we're just past the halfway point in this race, and look at Pomeroy fighting the bike as they head up to the big tree.
I think Pomeroy may be struggling a little bit. Wow, look at Morgan launch himself down there. He's in a big hurry, and we're heading for some kind of confrontation, Dave.
Number 24, Blair Morgan on the Kawasaki KX250. Look at this. He's starting to have a look on Pomeroy. He's moving to the inside as they head to the bowl. Yes, Blair Morgan makes the pass as they come out the other side. Oh, Pomeroy takes him back.
Have an eye on Morgan, though. Remember, he passed here last lap. Look at the speed he carries in that first turn.
Heading out of the bridge, it's Blair Morgan, Chris Pomeroy. Who will come out on top? It's Blair Morgan.
What a great battle, Dave. These guys, oh, Morgan was in trouble there. Almost jumped over the berm. Looks like he's going to get...
Pomeroy tries him back, heading into the back 40, but Morgan will hang on as they come out the other side. It's 24, Blair Morgan.
Oh, there's the hero of our 125 race, Nick Way, and he is sidelined. Looks like some kind of engine trouble. He's going to have to push it home, Dave.
Now, as we move ahead to the last lap in this Pro 250 Moto, there's our race leader, number 24, Blair Morgan, and look at that. Right behind him, number 48, Axel Holvey on the Suzuki.
Holvey's been pacing himself really well, but it's down to the last half lap, and it's going to have to be full tilt boogie if he's going to catch our leader.
Down the staircase they come through the S's towards the bowl. Blair Morgan, man, is he charging, but Holvey's hot on his tail.
Holvey has a target, but he has very little time to achieve the result he needs. You can see he's too far back to throw a block pass out here, but he's in the roost and after Morgan.
Big air there for Blair Morgan. This is the kid who won the Toronto Supercross earlier this year, and he's showing us how and why.
Morgan had some bad luck in 125, but boy, has he been on his game. He has looked just terrific all through this 250 opening moto. Full marks to Holvey, who's hung on and pressurized. Here we have a slow-mo of Morgan's pace. You can see he's using all the track and a little more. Both feet off the pegs as he starts the staircase, but he stays on the throttle, and stays out ahead of Holvey on this last lap, Dave.
Guts and grit from Blair Morgan, the pride of Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, as he doubles the jump for the last time heading up to the Valvoline Tunnel.
He's shaking off Holvey a little bit. I think he's got this one in the bag.
At the checkered flag, it would be number 24, Kawasaki's Blair Morgan. Lino Zecca caught up with our winner right after the moto.
Toward the end of the moto, you had pressure coming from Axel Holvitz. Was that any problems?
I knew he's behind there. He's pretty close, but I had a good enough distance that he couldn't really do a block pass or anything on me. I was kind of keeping our same distance, like not too close.
So Western Ace Morgan outdueled Belgian Holvey for the victory in the opening 250 Pro Moto. Dubé, Burr, and Caton rounded out the top 5. Jean-Sébastien Waugh was well out of the top 10 in the early action, but fought his way up to the 6th position. Sore wrists and all. Matazovic was right with Waugh for 7th. Meanwhile, Chris Pomeroy salvaged 8th after leading in the early going.
So, as we wet down this Walton circuit one last time in an effort to keep the dust down, will prepare for another dust-up in Moto number 2, so stay with us as our coverage continues.
30 seconds away from the start.
Welcome back to TSN's continuing coverage of the Valvoline Canadian Grand National Motocross Championships. I'm Dave Hatch along with Colin Fraser and Lino Zecca, and we're all set for Moto number 2 in the Pro 250 class.
Most of our stars have already done an hour and a half of Walton, Dave. Now they have the Force Moto, another half an hour to go.
Getting the whole shot once again, it's Chris Pomeroy and Marty Burr, the first to the bridge. Under the bridge they come, and there you can see our leader, Chris Pomeroy, followed by Burr, Matazovic, Chris Lemon, and Marco Dubé.
Burr got a little wide through there. Matazovic got him. I think the chicken's up to second, so we're going to see some action from our California superstar, Dave.
Number 6, our leader, Chris Pomeroy, on that Honda CR 250. He'll take us up to that big double jump for the first time in this moto.
There we see Pomeroy. Once again, he's got the lead with that Honda, but this time he has Matazovic much closer. This is the best that Matazovic has done so far in the Walton weekend, and you can bet that he's planning a pass.
Now they'll head up to the Valvoline tunnel jump with our leader, Chris Pomeroy, and you can see the gap there. There's Matazovic just off behind him there.
The track's held up very well, Dave. The traction's still there. It's not too dusty. They've done a good job of maintenance, but these guys are going to be tired, as I mentioned off the top. They've done an hour and a half, 2 125 motos, another 250 moto. Now we've just started the last big race of the day, the second moto and 250 class action, and you can bet that conditioning and your basic fitness level, as well as how healthy you are really going to play factors here, Dave.
Definitely, as they handle this tight and twisty Lee's Orchard section of the track. And look at that, Matazovic is just coming on strong. 2 veteran riders here.
Matazovic is the only rider here who's ever won an AMA Supercross. Of course, American level, national motocross is the toughest racing, even tougher than the Grand Prix circuit. So he certainly knows how to win. You can bet he is not happy being brought up to this event as a hired gun and not succeeding. He really wants to prove something, and this is his last chance at Walton in 1996.
Watch now as these 2 riders, one on a Honda, one on a Kawasaki, pull the trigger heading up to the big tree.
In contrast to our previous 250 moto, Pomeroy is now hugging the fence, taking the wide line. Meanwhile, there's Burr in third on that YZ 250. Of course, this is his last chance for a successful match for what he did last season when he won everything. He's definitely in contention here on the opening lap of 250 Moto 2.
250 moto number 2 indeed, and there's second place. Number 20, Jeff Matazovic, and he's pushing Pomeroy hard as they head into the bowl. Pomeroy has to know that Matazovic is hot on his tail.
Well, he would probably find out for the first time right now, Dave, because he just saw his lap board. Pomeroy has seen just about all of the top riders on his tail throughout this race. He's faced tremendous pressure in the opening moto, and now it's happening again in Moto 2.
As they head down to the back 40, look at that. The fans are just waving these 2 riders on. You know, they call Matazovic the chicken. I don't know why, but he certainly isn't backing out of this battle. Look as he has a look on the outside, then the inside on Pomeroy.
I think Matazovic was going for a pass. It just wasn't there, but the mark of a really great racer is he loses very little time when he makes a mistake. Look, there's Matazovic right back on Pomeroy's tail. He's recovered very, very quickly, and they're heading back onto that back straightaway area while we watch Burr in third position.
Down the back straight they come. Burr trying desperately to hang on to the front runners. Under the big tree they come. Now look at Matazovic again. Matazovic is all over Pomeroy.
Yeah, I think maybe he's trying to scare him, show him a wheel. So far he's been mostly on the outside, but whoa!
Oh, Matazovic goes through to take the lead. Pomeroy tries him back, runs wide, and Matazovic, he's going to hang on here as they head up to the bowl.
Oh, Pomeroy retook the lead. Nice riding, wasn't intimidated, but he just tucked the front end a little. Oh,
look at Pomeroy. He gives it right back as they head through the bowl and under the bridge, but still Matazovic will come out on front.
Let's watch the start of that chicken attack again. There's Pomeroy leading down the staircase, but Matazovic has tried for the lead twice. This time he is determined to show Pomeroy more than a wheel. He shows him a whole bike. Now really Matazovic is too tight, doesn't have the line. Pomeroy's smart, not intimidated. He gets right back beside one of the world's top motocross racers. They head for this next berm. Pomeroy's forced wide, but he stays on the gas. Now watch him out here, struggling for traction. Matazovic is hooked up, and Pomeroy doesn't back off till he starts to lose the front end through here, and he's still got another pass there in the bank turn, Dave.
Now as we pick up this moto at the halfway point, there's Marty Burr in second and Marco Dubé in third. Dubé would eventually make the pass for second, leaving this battle for third. That's Marty Burr, number 4, and number 48, Axel Holve on the Suzuki. What a great fight here.
You may notice a theme, Dave. Holve always comes on strong near the end. Obviously, he's in tip-top physical condition. It's very hot.
Speaking of coming on strong, this is the last lap now, and there's our race leader, number 20, Jeff Matazovic.
Canadian fans have finally seen what this chicken is capable of. He's ridden very, very well in this race. Of course, he must be pleased. I'm sure Kawasaki didn't bring him up here just to make up the numbers. In fact, he's lapped his way through almost half the 40-bike field, and as you can see, he's not slowing down clearly. His fitness level with the heat and the 4 motos hasn't been a factor. He's just pounding it away while he works his way to the checkered flag.
Under the tunnel for the last time, some slower riders waving him on now. Jeff Matasevich heads into the back 40 for the last time.
It's been a very, very good day for Kawasaki, Dave, but if you remember, Matasevich didn't do all that well in the opening moto, and that means we're going to have a different overall winner this time.
Matasevich is riding a 2-wheel Motorsport Kawasaki, and according to Jeff, it's box stock.
Now, don't forget, when he races in Japan, he's on full works, the Ultra Trick development machinery, preparing for the next model year. But here he's on a right-off-the-showroom floor type KX model, and this shows you what he's capable of.
Capable indeed, as Matasevich takes the big win here in Moto number 2.
Looking at the second race results for 250s, Matasevich, Dubé, Burr, and Holbay round out the top 4, and that's Kawasaki, Honda, Yamaha, and Suzuki equipment at the front of the pack. Meanwhile, in the bottom of the top 10, we see that Waugh only made it to 8th, so let's take a second to go and visit with Matasevich and hear about his victory.
I wanted to beat everyone as bad as I could for the simple fact that I hadn't won all day, and I wanted to show these people how fast I could really go. And starting in the back, you can't really go as fast as you can. So within halfway through, my front brake went out, and number 2 started coming up and catching me, and I was getting a little worried, and kept pushing, and he dropped back from me.
When we come back, Lino Zecca will have all the post-race analysis and interviews with the overall winners in the Pro 250 class, so stay with us.